For the first car race of the 70th Macau Grand Prix weekend, it's going to be touring cars, the first of two touring car races of the day, two separate championships, two separate competitions. The China Touring Car Championship, TCR China, doubles up for the Macau Touring Car Cup, but it's a championship event, so 2 point scoring races, and later on in the day we will have the Kumho TCR World Tour, which doubles up as the Macau Guia race, the fabled, very prestigious touring car race. That is not to say that this race isn't going to be good and isn't going to be dramatic and isn't going to be spectacular. Qualifying was, such as the session turned out to be, although the grid is not based on qualifying times, it is based on practice times. And the reason for that was that the qualifying session was so times interrupted, 4 times interrupted, that it was just impossible to let the drivers get a qualifying lap in. And hence, ultimately, the stewards abandoned the session. They went back to the free practice times and assembled a grid from that. And perversely, it has not done very much good to the championship leader. Jack Young, the British-Irish driver, leads the championship, and he was the fastest of the 6 that did a lap time yesterday in the qualifying session, but that counted for nothing. But he wasn't that quick in practice, and so he's ended up 5th on the grid. That gives him 1 point in qualifying, and his championship rival, Martin Tao, is 2nd, and so he ends up now with 4 points for his grid position, and it means that it's 3 points between them. The championship margin has narrowed, whereas it was 6 points coming into the weekend. David Addison and Alan Hyde trackside. Andy Yan is the man on pole position. The grandstands are getting busier and busier all the time. It's still a very warm morning, very hot sun beating down on the Guia circuit, and our first race is going to be a 9-lap Macau Touring Car Cup qualifying race. But the 2 championship races, if you like, if you think in isolation Macau Touring Car Cup, this race will be race 1, and then it's a semi-reverse grid for race 2, and it's tomorrow's race that is the Macau Touring Car Cup. This effectively is the qualifying race, but they are equal status races within the China Touring Car Championship. And Andy Yan, as I say, is on pole position. Martin Tao, that you might remember from the rather faltering days in the end of British Formula 3, lining up with him. Andre Couto is 3rd on the grid, a Macau Grand Prix winner. Former champion Zhang Zhengdong lines up 4th, Jack Young lines up 5th, and Jason Zhang is 6th. Winners in the championship: Andy Yan, the poleman, has had 1. Martin Tao, alongside him, has had 3 wins. Jack Young has had 3 wins. Jason Zhang, with his Lincoln Co., has had 1, and David Zhu has had 1 win as well. Other European interest in this comes from Max Hart, who we've seen racing in TCR in the UK, and he will line up 10th on the grid. But as I say, the grid is not really representative of people's pace, because it's this amalgamation of the free practice sessions on the basis that qualifying was just an impossibility. So sunny's on, cars on track, and the first car race of the weekend is not far away from getting underway. And around here, we know it's going to be dramatic. Yesterday, Alan Hyde, they didn't really cover themselves in glory, did they? And so hopefully a few lessons have been learned.
But they certainly got a lot of time.
They did.
1 hour and 20 minutes in total to complete their qualifying session, and we didn't even get as far as Q2. They were hoping to get into Q2, but unfortunately the stoppages that we had, but it didn't dim the enthusiasm of the crowd. And no, it is amazing. The local time is 20 to 11 here at Macau. And look at the grandstands. There are very, very few seats. I've been in the grandstand for the part of the Motorcycle Grand Prix first thing this morning, and it was just alive, absolutely alive. They are so interactive with everything that's going on. So Davey Todd's bike was wheeled off the grid, and there were oohs and ahs, a bit like it was a pantomime audience.
Really?
It was absolutely wonderful, completely engrossed. It's a feel-good feeling, the Macau Grand Prix, and with the sunshine looking down, and all of the glamour that surrounds this event, the scene is set for a superb 2 days of racing.
Totally agree. And with a Macau driver 3rd on the grid for this race, you can understand the enthusiasm coming from those grandstands, because they love a home winner, understandably.
Yes, they do.
Andre Couto was the first Macau driver, of course, to win the Grand Prix. Although his single-seater career never really clicked in the way that he might have hoped after winning here, he's made a good name for himself, of course, ever since, whether it's been in sports car racing or more recently in touring cars, and he's got to be a man to watch. It's the first time he's raced within the China Touring Car Championship, but having been racing in the European Formula Opel, Formula 3 Germany, he went to Japan for a time. He raced in the World Series beat by Nissan. He's a Super GT champion. We've seen him race in Asian Le Mans and international GT races as well. So he's a very, very accomplished driver. That's the man on pole position then. That is Andy Chan. And his CV goes on for pages. China Touring Car champion, Macau Touring Car Cup winner, TCR Asia champion, TCR China champion. He's represented his nation within the FIA Motorsport Games. And that car carrying 10 kilos of compensation weight. Martin Cao is alongside him. And there, Andre Couto lining up third on the grid. Getting instruction from the Macpro team. Now, whether or not Andre Couto is going to help his teammate Jack Young, who's aiming for a championship, we will have to wait and see. Number 18 there, Zhang Zhendong, TCR China champion, and he's raced in single-seaters as well in the Asian Formula Renault scene before coming across to tin tops. But that's Jack Young, who has got to be a man to watch in this, not only because of his ability, Al, but also because he's got a championship on the line. Such
a determined, exciting driver is Jack Young, and he started out in saloon cars in the UK, supporting the British Touring Car Championship in the Renault Clios, and he was a very young driver, very tall young driver,
yes, yeah.
But a very young driver, and so confident and so exciting to watch. The whole season was quite superb when he did a full season in Clios, and was fighting for the championship and fighting for wins. So his career has continued. He's come over to this part of the world to continue his career, and yeah, I don't expect him to stay in the position he is on the grid for very long.
No, I'd go along with that, certainly. And he's got his championship rival, Martin Cao, starting on the front row, so he knows he's got to push. That's David Zhu, who is another champion in Asian touring cars, and somebody else that came from single-seaters. He had a spell in the FIA Formula 2 Championship when it was the MSV one-make iteration. Max Hart's car, you can see there, number 69.
He's got lots of support back in the UK, having competed in TCR in the UK, so lots of people tuning in around the world, not just in the UK, but all the way around the world. The eyes of the motorsport world are focusing on Macau, as they do year after year.
51 is Yui Fan, who was in the walls and the wall earlier on in the weekend, but that car good to go, and he is going to start from 12th on this grid. And there, number 65 next is Lin Changhua, another of the Audi mounted drivers.
Lincoln Co. Sonny Wong, who didn't have the most brilliant of days yesterday. Let's hope that, well, the car is looking beautiful. Back to showroom condition, and a thumbs up from Sonny Wong, who has great experience here with the Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. team.
Yeah, he crashed in qualifying, but he's 14th on the grid. And in fact, there's another man that crashed in qualifying, 15th on the grid, Felipe de Souza. The fact that we've gone to free practice times for the grid, not qualifying, where they didn't get a lap in, has actually helped them, because they're sort of mid-grid, not at the back.
I think it should always be done, to be honest. This is quite a shuffle of a grid, isn't it?
It is. It certainly isn't what we thought we were going to have initially. 82 is Lai Zhongwen in the 326 Racing Team Audi, and has been making the point all weekend. Spectacular colour schemes on these cars, not just in the Macau Touring Car Cup, but in everything, because there is just something about this part of the world and the colour schemes and the culture and the vibrancy. It's the right side of being brash. It's garish, but it's not brash.
I think it's fantastic. And you look down the grid, you couldn't be anywhere else in the world. The girls advertising the hotels, walking up and down, waving at every camera. And they are there throughout the day, walking up and down the paddock. They are doing their job. They're promoting the hotels. And the hotels are every night very busy, because Macau is alive in the day and at night.
He never sleeps. Tony Chan's crew hasn't slept because that was a damaged car yesterday, but they've got it onto the grid. And 97 lining up next is the Z-Speed Hyundai of Yang Haojia. And he is to be found, what, 23rd on the grid. And then you've got Zhou Ho Wen. 26 cars in total. I think the grid is complete, despite the rigours of the weekend. There is number 11.
Is remarkable.
Well, it is.
Itself,
it is, yeah. Lu Chen in the next to the 326 Racing Team Audis, all set, ready to go. 27, Chen Shanlung for Norris Racing. And then it will be Yan Chao, number 25, to round out the grid for Bass Racing, another of the Audi RS3s. They are all there, all present and correct. The roll call is done.
How cool is that?
Absolutely.
Very impressive. And now the personnel are requested to leave the grid. Confirmation of the grid, as David has just given it to you, with pole position going the way of Andy Yan alongside the number 7 car of Martin Tao. Second row of the grid sees the number 66 car, that being the car of Andre Couto, a bit of a legend here at Macau, and having been on the top of the times so much this weekend, number 18 on the outside of the second row of the grid, that's Zhang Zhendong. That's the full grid, 13 rows of the grid, and we are about to get a 9-lap race. The formation lap, first of all, underway. And what a wonderful sight that makes. The sunshine is back at Macau. We've had a couple of cold and rather gloomy days here as far as cloud cover is concerned, but this is proper Macau weather.
What I find extraordinary as well is that after some of the damage incurred yesterday, not only is the grid complete, the cars were all resplendent, and don't forget they're doing this as a flyaway, and the paddock for the support races, the touring cars and the local road sport challenge, is an underground car park, and that's where they have to work, hidden away almost in the dark like moles, and with limited equipment, and yet they've got the cars absolutely good to go, ready for today. Green flag is waved, very determined. Off the line was David Zhu, carving his way past some of the traffic. The first corner there is Reservoir. That is where we lost Sonny Wong in the qualifying session yesterday when he made friends with the wall on the outside. And then the speed builds all the way down towards that very fast, very daunting right-hander of Mandarin. And then you keep the speed building all the way down to Lisboa.
You do. It's a wonderful run. It's just eyes on stalks kind of thing for the drivers and for spectators alike as they run down through Mandarin, an incredibly quick corner, not just a kink but a proper corner, and then the overtaking opportunity into Lisboa. I don't know, David, did you watch the opening lap of the motorcycles earlier on when the two teammates, when Rutter and Hickman side by side going into Lisboa? You can do it in cars and you can do it slightly differently on motorcycles. It was absolutely thrilling. We're going to get the same kind of action on the run down to Lisboa with cars.
You have to be brave to really get a proper lap time out of Macau, and it doesn't matter whether you're on a bike or whether you're in an enclosed saloon car or you're in a GT car. It is still a circuit, and particularly this long, fast section all the way from Fisherman's to Lisboa, that you've got to be brave, you've got to be precise. Just to make the point again, these are public roads. None of it is a permanent circuit. It's not like Le Mans where there's a bit of each, for example. They're all public roads, and they're opened again at 6 o'clock in the evening, all the way to 6 a.m. Lots of traffic on them. So what you face when you get onto the circuit day to day may well be different.
You're absolutely right, and we've made the point a few times over the course of last weekend and this weekend so far, is that the locals, they don't mind. They don't mind that all of a sudden they have to use a footbridge to get across the road, because this is the very lifeblood of Macau, and every year we have it for 4 days every year. I would imagine that most of the residents, now we are here into Grand Prix weekend, are enjoying their seats somewhere. In fact, it was quite weird. I just walked into the grandstand. How big are the grandstands? And I bumped into a young lady that I worked with at Macau Grand Prix for 6 years, the first time I came over. Everyone's here. Yeah. She's not working anymore. No. She doesn't work for the Grand Prix committee, but she's here for fun.
And I think also this year particularly, because it's an international event once more, people can travel far more easily. There is that feel-good factor. I mean, I know you and I have been confined to our booth most of the last few days, but you walk across at the end of the day to the media centre, and there are old faces that we haven't seen at race meetings for quite a long time now. And so there is that great, hey, we're all back together, feel-good element to the whole weekend.
It's a lovely feeling, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Absolutely lovely.
Right, pick a winner.
I can't.
Okay.
It's impossible. No, okay, well, I will. Can I say Jack Young for the podium?
I can go along with that, and I will go for, I was going to say Andre Couto, but I think he's going to be sacrificed to help Jack Young, but we will see. I think Martin Tao for the win from second on the grid.
Yep, that's a good shout. Zhang Dong has gone well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Throughout this weekend. Starts on the outside of the second row of the grid, car number 18. Well, we'll find out soon.
Well, we will. In fairness, though, what might go against Martin Tao is the 40 kilos of success weight. Andy Yan, who's on pole, has got 10. Martin Tao's got 40. Andre Couto has got 40. Zhang Dong has only got 10. Jack Young's got 40. Jason Zhang, 40. 30 kilos for Martin Shi, 30 kilos for David Zhu, 10 kilos for Max Hart, and 20 kilos for Rainy Hay, number 22. So there's a real mix of the weights, and that possibly will have more of an effect going up the hill out of Lisboa than anywhere else.
It's getting warmer and warmer here at Macau as the cars come around the final turn to form up on the grid to get our first car race of the weekend underway. Second race of the day already. We've enjoyed the Motorcycle Grand Prix, and what are we going to see for the Macau Touring Car Cup? As David said, a vibrant grid lines up as ever. We get very bright colours, very well thought out liveries for the China Touring Car Championship, and we're about to see not only a winner for the Macau Touring Car Cup, their first race of the weekend. The race again tomorrow morning. They'll have the first race on the timetable tomorrow morning at 8:20 on Grand Prix day. But the grid is lining up, 6 rows in place. 7th row comes into place now, and very soon we're going to get 9 laps of racing around the Guia circuit at Macau underway.
To the back of the grid then comes Ren Chow, number 25, and that will mean that everybody's in place. Marshall jumps down off the barrier with the green flag. That's the indication to the starter that everybody has returned. Still got a couple of cars yet. Chen Lung, number 27, is there, and 25 now arrives on scene, Yen Chow. So the marshal with the flag stands behind the course cars, the chase cars. The flag is there that says everybody is present and correct. There'll be 5 lights to go red to get the Macau Touring Car Cup underway, with a good start being made by Martin Tao. He's got the inside line against Andy Yan, look, as they go down towards Reservoir, and Andre Couto has not moved at all, so there's a car stranded on the grid. It staggers away now like a drunken sloth, but up front then it is going to be this battle between the 2 Hyundais, and it looks as though Martin Tao has done it. Yes, he has, and that's absolutely vital for the championship. Tao is in the lead.
There was a bit of bumping just behind, but everybody seemed to get away with it.
Jack Young, I think, has got a puncture, has he not? 77, Jack Young, look at the right front, the left front rather, tyre off the rim, 77, slowing right down. That has just destroyed Jack Young's championship hopes.
Oh dear, oh dear. I said there was a bit of bumping. I said I thought they all got away with it, but clearly not. Jack Young is one of the victims of that bumping off the line. Oh dear, that could not have gone worse. Did I say he was going to be on the podium?
You did, and I'm not getting away at all, is Liu Chen, and that car is being pushed off the grid then. Might start from the pit lane, we'll keep an eye to it, but yeah, Jack Young, it couldn't have happened in a worse place either. He's got to limp round.
That's a long way.
And he's got his championship rival in the lead of the race, so poor old Jack Young, racing here for the first time in big strife early doors in the race.
6.1 kilometres, and with a puncture, that is going to take an awful long time. Yellow flag at turn 4, and that's the turn at San Francisco.
Might be Jack Young having bumped it.
Jack Young.
Yeah. So the cars battle on, and it is Martin Tao in the lead then from Andy Yan. Then in third place, Zhang Dong ahead of Jason Zhang, and that is where, no, it is not Jack Young, it's 37 in the wall. Big off then for Zhou Junjie in the Spark racing car. The Honda is considerably shorter at the back than it was when it set off from the grid. That's gone in hard, and that's going to take a bit of retrieval as the leaders head up the hill. The 2 Hyundais are not getting away, are they, from Zhang Dong in third place?
No, they're not, and they're on the tight and twisty section of the circuit at the moment. They round the long left-hander at Donna Maria. That will take them down the hill to the Macau hairpin. Constant yellow flags throughout the course of this weekend. No overtaking. Well, you can't fit them both alongside through the Macau hairpin. That's why there's no overtaking, but sometimes they try to maybe be a little bit over exuberant getting around the Macau hairpin. 77, that's the car of Jack Young that we thought was going to have to pull off and not complete the whole of the lap. you can't even begin to think about what it feels like.
No, but there's a clue in the door slamming. He's not happy at all. We'll try and get a replay of the start and see whether he was brushed into. Safety car deployed then at the end of lap 1. Safety car on track in the Macau Touring Car Cup. Over the line goes Martin Tao ahead of Andy Yan and Zhang Zhendong. In 4th is Jason Zhang ahead of Martin Xi. And then in 6th place, Yang Shou Wei. But the safety car is deployed to get that crippled Honda of Zhou Junjie out of the way. And there it is, look. And he's trying to limp it back to the pit lane by the look of it. And he's got it as far as the Jack Young car park, but there's no space.
There is no space on the track really now, is there?
No.
Because it just went forward a couple of feet, and that has kind of blocked the track even more than it was originally. I think he was trying to get it through that little little escape route in the barrier.
But then he found Jack Young's car there, I think.
There's already too many there.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, we're all full up.
And so the marshals will try and get the car out of the way. Safety car deployed whilst this operation goes on. Jack Young in the white overalls, you can see on the right of the screen, out of the race. Yeah, and he knows that the race is gone. He knows that the championship is gone, unless grief strikes Martin Tao. And it is conceivable. It's not over till it's over.
No. But Martin Tao got a very, very good start.
He did.
Absolutely blistering off the line. There was no question that he was going to get the inside line for the first corner, and did so in fine style. Feeling really sorry for Jack. It's been a great season for him, and yeah, the slamming of the door, that's something that I remember a couple of times in the Clios. He's a passionate driver. He's a very quick driver, and his passion comes out. It's had a few years since I've seen him racing over in the UK, so presumably he's realised that these highs and lows of motorsport come with amazing regularity.
Oh, indeed. But, you know, you come here as the championship leader. You dealt a bit of a bad blow with qualifying being abandoned, which compromises the grid, and then you have a drama at the start. And the race start is under investigation. And the gesticulation there from Jack Young heading towards the Hyundai, making me wonder whether he felt that he was a bit ganged up on by the Hyundais, his championship rivals, at the start of the race.
That's possible. We get no more information than the start is under investigation. We don't know specifically what is being investigated. It's something, it could be someone that was out of position. It could have been a little bit of argy-bargy that we saw. So we'll wait and see what comes out from race control in due course. Well, still windy, you know, out there. Yeah. Still really windy.
We know that Andre Couto staggered off the line, so he is down in 14th place after that Fox getaway. He's from 3rd on the grid to 14th. So such was the start. He flies on the back of his crash helmet. He went backwards through the pack, and he's got a lot of work to do to try and get himself up the order. However, it doesn't necessarily ruin tomorrow's race, because the grid is the same as today's, but with the top 10 reversed. So if you're 11th from back, you stay where you are, but for tomorrow's race, the driver that started 10th today, Max Hart, would be on the pole position.
And it is not over until it's over.
No, indeed.
See what happens. So a 9-lap race, we've got this interruption now for recovery, and just a word about the recovery that you saw just a couple of moments ago. The crane lifting the car high and dropping it into a place of safety. That's the way to do it. They've got all of the infrastructure there.
Now, when I wandered back from watch shopping on Monday, I arrived on the circuit there, and I didn't think there was room for me, never mind a car, to go behind that barrier.
And a crane.
Indeed.
And the marshals.
Yeah, I'm impressed. So we're going to go racing shortly. The road is clear, and see whether the lights can go out on the safety car, because it's still quite a long run, actually, from this part of Black Sands down towards pit in. So it is conceivable that the lights could go out on the safety car, assuming that the crane's away and everyone's back on post up there at the faraway S's, and the lights are still on, I think. Yeah,
they are.
So one more lap behind the safety car, and then we'll go back racing. So it is Martin Tao leading the race, and with very much the advantage now in the championship, with Jack Young not set to score. So Martin Tao just has to keep it off the walls now, And not only that, but he's got protection, hasn't he, from Andy Yan, his teammate, in second place.
He's got a very able rear gunner, hasn't he? Absolutely no doubt about that. So a virtual shield will take place on the restart, and it's like it's already happened because he's got a bit of a gap. And then the second of the Hyundais weaving as much as they can to maintain the heat in the tyres for the restart.
Third place, you've got Zhang Dong, and then in fourth spot, the first of the Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co's, the car of Jason Zhang, all of those Lincoln Co's with the slightly menacing mouths and the gnashers ready to gobble up the opposition ahead.
Yes, and Zhang Dong has got a very angry dog on his on the body of his car. I think it's only a Jack Russell, but it scares me.
Only a Jack Russell, yes.
Well, normally they're quite yappy, but not necessarily particularly intimidating.
Okay.
We finished.
Life of Dogs with Alan Hyde. The new series will be back next. So, Angry Dog ahead of T-Bomb Lincoln Co's. Anything else animal related?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Well,
stand by.
There are 7 laps.
I'll find something.
I'm sure you will. Yes. Closest I can offer you is David Zhu.
Oh, that's not bad.
But anyway, down they come ready for the restart this time. Past the damaged car of Zhou Zhengzhe, which hopefully will be on track tomorrow. And Jack Young pondering what might have been. But as we've been saying, it's not necessarily guaranteed yet that Martin Tao is going to win this race, because anything can happen, especially on a restart, especially when the tyre pressure has dropped. So he's got to make sure he gets through reservoir safely, which has caught out many over the weekend, including people with the experience of Sonny Wong, as we saw in qualifying yesterday. He was the first red flagger from that session yesterday.
Surprising that, wasn't it? Yeah, hugely experienced at Macau. Many of these drivers appear at Macau year after year. Why? Because it is Macau. It is such a draw for local drivers. It's, I would imagine, a joy to be finding sponsorship and supporters for this weekend, because the eyes of the world are on this part of the world for this course of this weekend. Even in the Formula One paddock, they tune in and enjoy not only the main Grand Prix on Sunday afternoon, but of course there'll be quite a time difference between here and the Formula One World Championship, but also the support races as well. All of the races that appear over the course of this weekend, they all have equal standing as far as interest around the world is concerned, and there is something for everyone. If you like your GTs, we've got those. If you like your touring cars, we've got those aplenty. If you like your road sports, yep, we've got that as well. And we've got single-seaters, and motorcycles, of course. So just about, it is a festival of motorsport for this part of the world.
Safety car in this lap then, so we are going to go racing this time. This will be the end of lap number 3 out of the 9. The Lamborghini Urus safety car now starts to speed up, and it is up to Martin Tao to control the restart. The person you would not really want to be, in a sense, is Zhang Dong in 3rd place, because you are going to be massively frustrated, no doubt, by the restart of Andy Yan. Look, who just lets Martin Tao go, and there's nothing you can do. You can't overtake until the timing line. The only thing to factor in here is whether or not Andy Yan is, if you like, within 5 lengths of the car ahead, because we had people being penalised for that in the TCR Asia race on the previous weekend. But we're back racing with a monster advantage now for Martin Tao.
Yeah, that's a big gap, isn't it, on the restart? I mean, we said it was good to have a rear gunner. It is good to have a rear gunner, but wow, what an advantage, and wow by Andy Yan, what a team player.
Yeah.
And frustrating for Zhang Dong in 3rd place. He's also having to look in his mirrors because he's coming under attack in turn as well. Now on the run down towards Lisboa, and with a mighty advantage there at the front of the field, Martin Tao.
Yeah, Zhang Dong actually hasn't been able to stay with him. Max Hart's looking quick, a little bit further back in 7th place as Martin Tao tries to build that lead. So it is in 2nd place Andy Yan, in 3rd Zhang Dong, and drama has done another Hyundai goes up the escape road, but that was at Lisboa as you watch the leader heading up San Francisco Hill. Now, Jason Zhang in 4th place, dropping back ever so slightly from Zhang Dong in 3rd, but Andy Yan sacrificing himself here for the good of the team, for the good of the championship, for the good of Martin Tao, and he is now demonstrably clear. He was over 2 seconds ahead at the restart.
Yes, I know, and you also pointed out that Max Hart got a really good restart. He did. He put in a purple, which was the overall best sector 1, and Zhang Zhendong has put in the overall best in sector 2 as well, in 3rd place.
Just saw Max Hart go through. 7th is almost impossible to overtake on the mountain part of the circuit. And the first 2 safety car laps are added to the race distance then. So we're not going to lose out completely. We're going to have 2 laps added on under the safety car, say race control. That's Martin Tao. If anything then, Andy Yan is coming back at him. So the gap is coming down, which sort of gives Zhang Zhendong a little bit of optimism in all of this. So if he's really good coming out of Black Sands, he might be able to make a move on that wider first section of the circuit.
I think Andy Yan has to push on because Zhang Zhendong is right on his tail, isn't he? He's pushing him along. We've got a car off. It's the 51 car. It's the car of Ui Fan in the 326 racing team Audi. That car has gone off. It's Moorish. It's a regular collection point, if you like, for touring cars. We've seen many a tail end of a touring car sticking out from that. I instantly think of Gordon Shedden's car sticking out from there. A vastly experienced driver, 3-time British Touring Car Championship champion, and his race came to an end at that particular corner. But look at this, the battle for 2nd place with Zhang Zhendong right on the tail of Andy Yang. He is being pushed on, isn't he? And Zhang Zhendong topped the times on Thursday of this week in free practice, and now he's showing that pace.
Just done the fastest lap of the race. Zhang Zhendong in 3rd spot then as they come down towards Mandarin, and he's close enough maybe to have a go, as also in the background is Martin Xi on the inside line of the Honda. He lines up to have a go at Jason Zhang and goes through. Brave stuff heading into Mandarin with also Yang Zhaowei right up there behind them as well. To the inside line in defence now. In 4th look goes the Honda. There's no change for 2nd as Andy Yan fends off Zhang Zhendong, but this is now 4th, 5th and 6th, and it's number 55 Martin Xi on his toes gaining ground. 2nd
and 3rd go through in the same order. Then we've got the gap before this 3-car battle, so great battles to watch. The advantage held by the leader, and we're just going to get a view of the car.
That's what we found.
Yeah, going off, and this car is presumably going to need a little bit of recovery because there'll be front-end damage on that car for sure. Can't carry on with the car sticking out the back end. Oh, we've got a green flag, so they have got the car recovered, so that's good news. So the yellow flag comes in on sector 3.
Hopefully it wasn't that badly damaged, because it looked like it went into the rector cell, didn't it, up the escape road, rather than
was it police or was it Moorish?
I thought it was Moorish, but anyway, the car has moved, as you say. Look at this lead gap then, it is coming down, and in so doing, Andy Yan has shaken off Zhang Zhendong. So the danger is that he presses on, then he gets stuck. He won't really be allowed, I don't think, to overtake his championship leading now teammate. So he's going to have to sit there. But then Zhang Zhendong will catch back up again. So it's going to be a bit elasticated, I would think, this 3-way battle.
Yeah, it's going to wax and wane, isn't it, this gap? The advantage for Martin Tao at the end of the last lap was 1.5 seconds, just under. Now, we have still got that car there, haven't we? We thought we've gone green flag there.
I think that was another one.
Car.
That's a different car, and it is at police, you're right, and it's a Lincoln Co, I think, in the wall. So yellow flag is out, and you can see how narrow that makes the road as the cars descend upon the right-hander. So far, so good. Here are the race leaders then, and they're getting away now, definitely, from Martin Xi in 4th place, but we may well end up with another caution.
Andy Yan has put in the overall best in sector 2, and that's why we saw the gap coming down between himself and race leader. It's going to be a trio for the lead, isn't it, after that huge gap, that huge advantage for Martin Tao after the safety car came in and the restart happened. Well, that gap has now come down. Andy Yan being pushed on by Zhang Zhendong in 3rd place, and the leaders coming through, and the top 3 are pretty much in a class of their own, aren't they? It's a while before we get to see the 4th place battle.
Replay of drama, and bang, into the wall goes the Lincoln Co, which I want to suggest might have been David Zhu's car, but I'm not sure I'm right in saying that. But anyway, it is off, it is out of the race for the moment, as the leaders, bunching up once more, head down towards Lisboa. And Andy Yan getting a bit frustrated here, potentially, because he thinks he's got the pace to win the race, but does he have permission?
Yeah, it's a question of, well, he played a great team role on the restart, but now he's shown the pace in catching up on the race leader, Martin Tao, and Zhang Zhendong has dropped back a little bit, so leaving the 2 teammates to battle it out together. That's a horrible sight for the team down in pit lane, isn't it? They really don't want to see this, that gap has come right the way down. And the pace, I think, has definitely gone the way of second place Andy Yan, put in the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, 2:31, 2:27 in the pursuit of Martin Tao at the front of the field. We have cleared that car down at police, so we've got a green flag at turn 15. That's good news, but this is a fascinating battle. Yes, indeed.
So Martin Tao with Andy Yan chasing after him, and the gap is coming down again to second and third. Zhang Zhendong closing as they drop through police then, heading up the hill towards Moorish now. We're currently on lap number 6, but 6 more laps remain. Just under 6 laps remain because we've had these extra laps bolted on courtesy of the safety car. So here they come, and it remains their number 7, Martin Tao, trying to break away from teammate Andy Yan. Zhang Zhendong still frustrated because he can't find a way past. On this part of the circuit, of course, all Andy Yan has to do is just drive his own race because he can stack everybody else up behind him. It's only from here down to Lisboa that he's really got to go for it, because that's where there's a chance of being overtaken. And look, straight off, he stretches the gap.
He does, yeah. The gap stretches out visibly to the eye when the circuit opens up. And that's good news. From race control, they've said that there is no further action for the race start. They were investigating the race start. We're not sure what particular part of the race start they were looking at, but whatever it isn't worth any further investigation. That's good news. Up towards the line comes the race leader, Martin Tao, with now 6 laps completed and a 2:31.6, 2:31.2 for Andy Yan in second place. Then we've got the gap. It's extended by a couple of tenths at the end of that lap. It went from 0.7 of a second to 9/10 of a second on that lap. Zhang Zhendong is still there. He did a 2:31.5. That's a sort of dead way in between the lap times for Andy Yan and Martin Tao.
And up into 6th now is Max Hart. So the Irish driver going nicely. He's got himself up past Jason Zhang's Lincoln Co. as the leaders clear Lisboa, the top 3. Still this big gap between them and the best of the rest in 4th, Martin Xi in the Mac Pro Racing Honda Civic. And again, look, the gap starts to come down as they head up San Francisco Hill. Over the brow comes Martin Tao. All he's got to do, is keep it off the wall now. This is his race to lose, and he knows that this win is going to set him up beautifully to secure a championship in tomorrow's race.
It certainly will. This is going to be a critical race in their championship, the China Touring Car Championship, and they are battling it out over 2 races this weekend here at Macau for the Macau Touring Car Cup. The Guia race will come up later on today as well, their first race. That's coming up just before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. For touring car fans, they are well catered for this weekend for the 70th Macau Grand Prix. Race leader Martin Tao threads his way through the very narrow section into police. That's the right-hander. That catches out a few. It already has during this race. And then straight away on to the right-hander at Moorish, through Moorish, up Moorish Hill, and then into Donna Maria, the long left-hander, which will culminate in the very tight single file Macau hairpin.
Provisionally, I would offer you that after this, assuming Martin Tao wins, Jack Young would have to win tomorrow and Martin Tao not score. In other words, not be in the top 10 for Jack to win the championship, because after this, it would be 23 points between them in favour of Martin Tao and 25 for a win. So it is very much champion-elect, really, Martin Tao, assuming he wins this race, because it's a Herculean task for Jack Young to overcome it tomorrow. But we're not done yet, as we keep saying. So Martin Tao it is who leads the way. He's had a really good season, though. 3 wins, a couple of 3rd places for the single-seater racer turned touring car driver. And he comes over the timing line now to put 7 laps in the book. And as he goes by, the advantage this time is 1.3 seconds, with Zhang Zhendong still running in 3rd place, but not lapping as quickly that time as the 2 ahead. And so gradually, lap by lap, the pressure starts to ease from behind on Martin Tao. Further back, the recovering Andre Couto is up into 9th. Now, bearing in mind, after he staggered away from the grid, he was down in 14th earlier on. He is making progress.
Certainly is, yeah. So we've now got 7 laps in the book, a personal best for the race leader, Martin Tao, on the previous lap at 2:31.575. They turn into Lisboa, and neither of them are under too much pressure in the top three, are they? The leader not under pressure from the second place car of Andy Yan, and Andy Yan in turn is not under pressure from Zhang Dong in car number 18 in third place. But the gap extended that time, went from 0.9 of a second to 1.3 seconds. So are we back in the looking after the teammates kind of way of playing this race out, because Zhang Dong is now going to apply the pressure once again. He's just put a personal, an overall best in sector 2. So Zhang Dong in car number 18 is trying to close the gap to second place Andy Yang once again. You said this gap was going to wax and wane, and that's exactly what it is.
You just see Aaron Kwok going through in 88, the rather delayed now Lincoln Co. as the leaders turn out of police once more, but Martin Tao trying to edge clear, taking off the laps. Then we've got this, 3 more to go as they climb the hill up towards Donna Maria once more out of Moorish. But Martin Tao keeping it off the wall, keeping it neat and tidy, and the drivers today doing what they didn't do yesterday, which is respecting the circuit. But the leading 3 go through with Martin Shi in 4th place now, very nearly 4 seconds adrift of this leading trio.
Did I just a little lock up there from the race leader Martin Tao, just going through the twisty section through Donna Maria? There may have been a little tyre squeal, a little puff of smoke, and that would normally be the kind of thing that you do when you're well under pressure. But at the moment it's second place Andy Yan that is under pressure, because Zhang Dong has put in not only an overall best in sector 2 on this lap, but also a personal best on sector 4 in bringing down the gap between himself and Andy Yang in second place. So they turn through the corner. They're about to complete now 8 laps all go in the book. Already 8 laps completed by Martin Tao that leads the race, and Andy Yang is coming under pressure, isn't he? 0.6 of a second back to Zhang Dong now.
Now the leaders through, 8 laps done, 3 to go, and you can see in the background Max Hart charging along, trying to gain further ground. He's on the tail of Yang Zhaowei here, and the 2 cars, the 2 white Hyundai ahead of the similar car of Max Hart go through together. Jason Zhang next in the queue ahead of David Zhu, but Max Hart wants another place. Look, goes to the outside line down towards Lisboa. He's not going to go round the outside, surely. He needs the undercut maybe coming out of the corner, or try to force a mistake out of Yang, but he can't do it. Out of Lisboa with a slightly tighter line there, Max Hart. But from here on in, you just got to sit in the queue and hope that somebody ahead of you slithers out wide. But even if they do, you've got to be careful not to get caught up in their drama, because it is so narrow.
He was looking so pacey going up San Francisco Hill. The road tightens up as you go up the hill. It is quite a hill as well. It's a pretty steep run that from San Francisco, the corner, into San Francisco Hill. But they are putting each other under pressure. A few little puffs of tyre smoke that time as they go around Teddy It onto the Solitude S's. That's such a change of direction from right to left, and it finishes up with the left-hander and then the right king at Pyol, and up towards Faraway Hill, and the right-hander at Police that catches out many. You would think there isn't space to overtake here on this tight and twisty section. Touring cars do it.
Yes,
I can't watch.
If you're really brave and if the guy you're racing with is respectful, it can be done. And going defensive now, look, number 17 of Yang Zhaowei. So Max Hart trying to find a way past, but he's also trying to repel the challenge of Jason Zhang, number 36, the Lincoln Co behind him. So 2 Hyundais, 2 Lincoln Co's of Jason Zhang and David Zhu. That's Donna Maria hairpin, and actually Zhang is the one coming back at Max Hart here. That's not what Max needs, but I suspect he'll be able to pull the pin coming out of Melco hairpin, and that is the corner they're at now.
Yep, they certainly are. They thread their way single file around Melco hairpin in the sunshine, then into the shade as they come down through Black Sands and on towards Fisherman's Bend. The right-hander, it's a quick right-hander, and from Fisherman's Bend onwards it is very fast indeed. Great battle this. A few people had said to look out for Max Hart over the course of this weekend, and they were right to do so, because he's very racy, isn't he?
He is, and he's not been racing for that many years. He started off in Formula V in Ireland back in 2018, and his first year, of course, of racing in the region, so his first time at Macau, and he goes through, and the margin, Zhang Zhaowei to Max Hart now is 0.4 of a second on this part of the circuit. Max has shaken off Jason Zhang, hasn't he, behind him? And so what can he do? He sort of teed it up last time with a really good run through Mandarin here. There's not that much room, of course, on the outside line. You can see how they're almost skimming the barrier before they come into Mandarin, and the same coming out the other side. But 2 lengths back, I would say, is Max Hart. He's still not quite close enough to make a move, but you can see how defensive Yang is, sitting in the middle of the road until the very last moment, swoop across to the apex, and despite the pressure, he's hanging on to the place.
It was super to see. Yeah, he was thinking about it, or certainly marking his attention for the remaining laps. 2 laps to go, and as they make their way now once again up San Francisco Hill, don't write off the opportunity that there might be a little mistake made, because Max Hart is putting him under a huge amount of pressure. It's this part of the circuit last time that he dropped back a little bit and was defending rather than attacking, but now they are back to being a quartet up towards the left hand of the wall on the left. Teddy Ip then into the Solitude S's. Meanwhile, the race leader, we've not watched him for a little while, but has completed now 9 laps, and still the gap has stayed the same back to teammate Andy Yan. It's just shy of 1 second, the gap at the front of the field, 0.9 of a second.
The clock is ticking on down because there's a time limit on the race, but we've also got just under 2 laps for the race leaders to go, as there you see Yang Xiaowei getting away again from Max Hart through the faraway S's, but then the gap might well come down once they get out of Melco on the end of this lap. So we're on lap number 10 for the race leaders, and the gap does come down, coming out of Moorish up towards Don of Maria this time. So Yang Xiaowei with his elasticated situation over Max Hart and Jason Zhang and David Zhu. And look who's arrived on the back of that queue. Andre Couto then, 9th place, and he's not done yet either. So Couto is going to be the one to watch out of this queue.
He knows how to win at Macau around the Guia circuit, that's for sure. In single-seaters, maybe, but now in a saloon car, part of the Macau Touring Car Cup. And that is the scene of the top 3 in a class of their own. The podium, pinning podium drivers turn around the final corner up towards the completion of 10 laps now. Last lap board being displayed. So Andy Yan closes the gap as they come out of the corner up towards the very, very fast Mandarin, and the run down towards Lisboa. He's doing the perfect act in 2nd place now for the team, guarding the championship, and the championship advantage at the end of this, should it stay this way, it has very much swung the way of Martin Tao, race leader.
He can work out tonight where he's going to put the trophy, what he's going to say when he receives it, and he can't quite get hold of it yet. That's going to come tomorrow, assuming he doesn't have any dramas. Out of Lisboa he comes then, with now Zhang Zhendong falling a long way back all of a sudden in 3rd place. Now, is that because he thinks, I'm never going to get past them, let me just go for the podium and not risk anything? Further back, Max Hart there, ahead of Jason Zhang still, but he in turn has also fallen away from Yang Xiaowei. So we were talking for the last 2 laps about maybe him making a move, and all of a sudden Max Hart is going to have to make that the world's widest, because he's got them stacked up behind.
He certainly has, yeah, under a huge amount of pressure as well, just on the little run between Lisboa and San Francisco Hill. Weaving going on behind, looking for a way through. There isn't really a way through going into San Francisco, and then you're into the tight, twisty part of the circuit anyway, going up San Francisco Hill. But Max Hart is going to have to do everything in the book to not make a mistake on this lap, because that's what he's being pressured into doing.
So Martin Tao is on target then for win number 4 of the season, and drama coming there for Tony Chan out of Fisherman's. Tony Chan spins the Honda. You see the tyre marks he's just added to the great collection over the weekend. Now he's got to wait for a gap in the traffic. That car had an off yesterday in qualifying, but it's been repaired and it's back in the race as Martin Tao, completely unaffected by all of that, comes towards the Melco hairpin. Not only that, but he's heading towards a checkered flag, a race win, and he's now got one hand on the Champions Trophy.
Comfortable feeling that, isn't it, with Andy Yan just behind, looming in the mirrors, but knowing that presumably for this final half of the lap, he's not going to be coming under any pressure, quite the reverse. He has a very nice cushion behind him. Zhang Zhendong has dropped back. I wonder if that is, as you say, just being careful, just not making... because a mistake could cost so dearly on the final lap and rob you of the podium that is so sought after here at Macau. There's our race leader, Martin Tao, making his way around up towards the first checkered flag for cars of the day. He wins Heat 1 for the Macau Touring Car Cup here on qualifying race day. They've got another race to look forward to tomorrow at 8:50, but quite right, celebrations down in the pit lane. Good job done by the team, and they know the implication for the championship as well, for the China Touring Car Championship. But leg one of the Macau Touring Car Cup goes the way of Martin Tao. Great work also by Andy Yan in second place, because you have to drive a faultless race as well to be able to be in that position of securing the win for your teammate. So great job by both.
Absolutely right. And as ever, there are going to be some hard luck stories, but a fourth win of the year for Martin Tao, from then Andy Yan in second place, and Zhang Zhendong, who in that John Waterman engineered car oddly has yet to win this year, but he's got a very good pedigree, so another good result. But he'll be looking to end the season on a high with a race win tomorrow, won't he?
So John Waterman looking after Zhang Zhendong's car, did you say? Yeah, well, that's impressive. That's Colin Turkington's engineer for some years now in the British Touring Car Championship. Huge amount of experience, not just in the BTCC, but in World Touring Cars and in this part of the world as well. He is a regular here at Macau. In fact, some years ago, I was walking down an empty plane at Heathrow, and there was one person sitting in one seat at the back of the plane, and
John Waterman.
He happened to be in the seat next to me.
Oh, right.
So we had 13 hours and we chatted quite a bit.
Not surprised.
His words as I appear were, "Oh no, not you."
How to make friends and influence people. Well, as far as Jack Young is concerned, when he sees Martin Tao, it'll be something similar, I suspect, because that's the man that looks like he's going to take the championship away from him. This is what happened to Tony Chan, late race, coming down to Fisherman's, just completely lost the back of the car, didn't it? All of a sudden, it snapped away as he tried to flick it in. A big slide, puts a load of rubber down on the road. Others have to scatter around the Norris Racing Honda in avoidance, but successfully avoided, and he rejoined to be in 19th place at the end.
That was almost a heroic drift around the corner. Not quite, but almost.
Heroic drift sounds like a new movie that should be in production soon. Sort of the end of the Fast and Furious franchise. They can go no further.
It's not a bad idea.
So, heroic
you can
drift.
Have that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I have a cameo in it?
Yes.
Parking attendant. So Martin Tao, a race winner in the end by just over a second, but key to all of that was the protection from Andy Yan, his teammate behind, stacking up the field and enabling Martin Tao to pull away on the restart. We've not heard of any investigation about the restart, so the officials, I think, were happy with, although there was a gap that Andy Yan created, he wasn't too far back from Martin Tao for it to be an issue. But in the TCR Asia races last weekend, weekend one of this 70th anniversary event, we did have drivers being penalised because they fell so far back that it really compromised everybody behind unfairly. So that has been occasionally to be dealt with. So the drivers will go to the podium, and then there will be the interviews, we think, with the drivers, and then a press conference to come after that. Let's look at the results of the Macau Touring Car Cup, won by Martin Tao from Andy Yan, and in third place, Zhang Zhendong. Fourth to Martin Shi, ahead of Yang Xiaowei. Max Hart, sixth from Jason Zhang. In seventh place, David Zhu, eighth. Andre Couto, ninth, and Rainy Hay rounding out the top 10. Inevitably, some hard luck stories. Quite a few drivers didn't get to the end and ended up with damage, such as Zhu Yunji, Wei Fan, Jack Young, Zhou Yunji, and Lu Chen never actually started, his car expiring as the lights went out, and he didn't join in from the pit lane. Maybe a drive shaft broke or something preventing the car from getting going. It was perhaps more than just a stall. So down the back of the paddock, the cars come, heading to the scrutineering bay.
I thought there might be quite a bit of celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll go through the post-race technical checks. The drivers will be escorted to the podium, and the officials try and get them there as quickly as possible, whereas the teams all want to join in the celebrations.
Yeah, and already you can see Martin Tao in the car. One fist in the air, celebrating already. Has to go through these technical checks first of all before the celebrations can begin, and they will begin in Parc Fermé, but at the the moment it's all about the officials in Parc Fermé, the scrutineers will now open the door, and yeah, that's a celebration, isn't it? Knows how important that race win is here at Macau. Any race win at Macau is significant and is worth celebrating, but also when it's got a significant impact on championship points as well, well, it kind of ups the game a little bit, doesn't it? Driver has to be weighed with helmet, hands device, all of those things on, and then quite right, the two teammates would be celebrating with one another, because that was a good team job done by Andy Yan in second place.
Goes to the scales, car is weighed, driver's weighed, and then the combined weight factored in as well. Martin Xi arriving on the scene as the Hyundai drivers all celebrate a good result and taking Martin Tao to within touching distance of that championship, and it'll all come down to the wire tomorrow. If he can't win the championship, I'm sure Jack Young would like to win the race, and he is going to end up on the second row on that reverse grid, so he's got a chance, that's for sure.
Certainly does, and he is a very determined and very quick driver. So yeah, if you can't win the championship, then at least go out in style, and I'm sure that's what he's looking to tomorrow to save something from this weekend.
More touring car action to come later on, when we will have the first race for the Guia race in part of the TCR World Tour. But there is a very happy team. I suspect that's probably now given the team's championship also to the Hyundai and squad. Need to do some crude maths in a moment to confirm all of that, but with so many cars from Hyundai N up at the pointy end of the field, stands to reason.
So celebrations taking place in Parc Fermé will lead briskly on to celebrations on the podium, because they are ushered very quickly. We don't have too much wiggle room in the timetable on this, our first race day of the 70th Macau Grand Prix. Grandstands are packed, the sunshine looking down, and celebrations very soon to take place. Once the helmets are off, they can get ready. Is that Gabriele Tarquini down there?
It is.
It is, yes. Overlooking the success for a Hyundai driver. And good to see Gabriele down there to share in the joy.
We go, so the officials, in other words,
in the background.
Get on with it!
Come on!
Yes.
It's a short walk, really. It's just across the paddock, which is such a busy place throughout today. So needs a zebra crossing halfway down the paddock. It is so busy, and that's where the cars collect and where all of the glamour and the glitz of the Macau Grand Prix happens. That's the one place that you look above any other to know that you are only in Macau. Only in Macau do you have a paddock that is so busy and bustling all day long.
Only in Macau would the next grid for the road sport cars, the 70th anniversary challenge, be having the personnel about to be allowed on track, and it include not only the ladies representing all the different hotels, but also people dressed as what might be teddy bears with giant heads. You'll see these on the grid, I'm sure, at the moment. I've just seen somebody put their head back on.
Yes.
But it's such a cultural thing over here. It's always different. And I don't mean that in any rude or patronising way. It is just a different culture, and it is fantastic to be part of it, even if it's only for 10 days a year.
It is absolutely right. It's a real gift, a privilege to be here in the commentary box talking about all the action, as indeed I'm sure the spectators feel it's a privilege to be watching it as well. As I say, this morning, the feeling in the grandstand for the Motorcycle Grand Prix was absolutely superb. And bear in mind, it's just gone 8 o'clock in the morning here in Macau. The grandstands were already filling up, and they know what they're doing as well. They know exactly what's gone on. They stand up and take photographs at every single right point. They are a very, very knowledgeable crowd, this.
Absolutely right, and noisy as well. I think you made the point early on about it being like a pantomime sometimes with heroes and villains.
It is,
but there you can see the colourful grandstand. There are lots of them that dot the way around the start straight and through Reservoir. And then there's another enormous grandstand on the outside of Lisboa. There are no other grandstands, but the enterprising, of course, will find somewhere to watch, whether it's from a hotel room or from their apartment. And as we've been saying over the course of the last few days as well, while all this is going on, and you can see it in the background, so everyday life continues. Not everybody is focused on the Grand Prix, but you can't go anywhere in Macau without knowing that it is in town, whether it's with shops selling Macau merchandise for the Grand Prix, whether it's with special offers because the Grand Prix is in town, whether it's with the increased number of Western faces that are here and the return to great levels of tourism. And it's I think for about 20 minutes out of 24 hours it goes moderately quiet, but the casinos have been really busy, and then everybody is up early for the Grand Prix. The roads are closed at 6 o'clock, and then there's quite a bit of work to do to make sure that the safety delegate is happy, Tim Schenken, with the barriers being in the right place, with escape roads being clear, with the difference you need for the circuit between cars and bikes. So before the track goes live after 6 o'clock, when the public roads are closed, there's quite a lot to do. So it really does demand a great team. It's a big team at Macau, a lot of people involved, but it's a great, well-oiled machine that has done this so successfully for so many years. The Road Sport Challenge cars from the Macau Road Sport Challenge, representing the 70th Anniversary Challenge Grid Race 1. They will be next to the circuit, but before that, there is going to be the podium for the Macau Touring Car Cup Race 1, which is also race 1 of the weekend in the China Touring Car Championship. And as I say, that is going to be next. The trophy girls from the Wynn Hotel and Resort have arrived on the grid, and will no doubt join them and the road sport competitors for the 70th Anniversary Challenge very shortly, once we've had the podium for the China Touring Car Championships first race for the Macau Touring Car Cup, and that will be imminent.
Teddies have arrived on the grid. That's always reassuring.
Yes, look left, you can just see them up against the pit wall there with the enormous white head. There are 2 of them that will stand at the front of the grid. We're getting ahead of ourselves slightly, because I'm sure we'll come to them when we go down to the grid.
I get distracted by teddy bears.
Yes, well, calm.
I can't help myself.
Calm. But the grid will get very busy shortly once cars are released. We're slightly behind schedule, of course, with not only the extra laps put onto the Macau Touring Car Cup race, but also the Bike Grand Prix this morning that Peter Hickman won yet again. Had to be restarted, and there was quite a delay while Sun Liquid was attended to, so that's slightly knocked us out of kilter, but the organisers no doubt will be rattling on to try to bring the gaps between sessions down and therefore move the timetable back on target. The podium then awaits, and the trophy girls step forward first. The garlands are there. The dignitaries will be brought forward as well. And there's a process to all of this. First of all, the trophy girls arrive, then the dignitaries brought forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 70th Macau Grand Prix. Now it's the Macau Touring Car Cup China Touring Car Championship Race 1 trophy presentation ceremony. First of all, let's welcome the top 3 finishers to the podium. On the second runner-up, number 18, Zhang Zhendong from China. And the first runner-up is number 3, Yan Chek Wai from Hong Kong, China. And the winner is number 7, Cao Hong Wei from China. Congratulations to the top 3 finishers. And now may I have the honor to invite Mr. Dave Sun, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Sense China Limited, Managing Director of Venetian Macau Limited, to present the laurel and trophy to our second runner-up, Zhang Zhendong from China. And also, I would like to invite Mr. Sun to present the laurel and the trophy to the first runner-up, Yan Chek Wai from Hong Kong, China. Thank you, Mr. Sun. Please remain at the center. And now I would like to invite Mr. Poon Wang Kun, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organizing Committee, to present a laurel and a trophy to the winner, Cao Hong Wei from China. Congratulations. I would like to invite our guests to move to the center and take a photo together. And our winners, please reach to the top of the podium as well. Congratulations. Here are the top 3 winners of the Macau Touring Car Cup China Touring Car Championship Race 1.
So a very happy scene down there.
Thank you, our guests. Thank you very much. And congratulations once again to the top 3 finishes, to our drivers. Congratulations. Thank you.
And thanks to Janice as well, who is our Master of Ceremonies on the podium throughout the course of this weekend. A photograph now opportunity with all 3 of the drivers, but the presentations are made and the coveted trophy of being on the podium here at Macau. Smiles all around. A super new podium that we have as of last year here at Macau, with that very, very impressive large LED screen as the backdrop, showing all of the partners and sponsors of the Macau Grand Prix weekend, and that really is a very, very big backdrop. It's also presumably able to withstand a bit of fluid over the course of the weekend, because the bubbly will flow over the course of this weekend. So that's our podium presentation. Already we're getting ready for the start of our next race, which is a special race for this weekend. It is Road Sports Cars, but in the meantime we can have a look back at the highlights from the first race for cars of the weekend for the Macau Touring Car Cup.